Let's talk today for a few minutes about things that you can do if you have an Aetna Disability Insurance claim denial. Now, these suggestions that we're going to discuss with you deal with Erisa governed policies. That means that this is probably a policy that you got from your employer. You filed a claim for disability benefits and Aetna denied you. So we want to focus on the three most important steps that we take when we're representing a claimant who's recently been denied. And I'm joined today by Cesar Gavidia, one of the attorneys in our office, and Cesar's going to discuss the first step that a person should take who's been denied by Aetna.
Greg, it's important that a person first know that once you've been denied by Aetna, you have 180 days under Erisa to appeal that denial. Usually they'll tell you that in the denial letter. If it's less time than that, then you better, then a warning flag should go up for you, and you might need to contact a lawyer right at that point to find out why it varies from that 180 days that you usually get. But after you get that denial letter, you probably take a little time to cool down. You're probably going to be upset having received that letter, so you shouldn't call Aetna at that time and start, asking a bunch of questions and speaking to them about the claim and telling them right away that you want to appeal. You should actually request in writing to Aetna your claim file. And your claim file is basically all the documents that Aetna's used to make a determination on your claim. It could be all your medical records, it could be all their notes, all their internal memos, all the emails that they've gone back and forth on with in-house people there, their own medical physicians, IME reports, all those things. Once you get that claim file, obviously you have to go through it, comb through it, and analyze and scrutinize every piece of documentation in there. Make sure that in that claim file is contained everything that you gave them, because if they don't have everything, that all your medical records, all the documentation that you would have sent off to them, then there's obviously something happened there.
Okay, so is that the first step that you go through when you're representing a claimant?
That's the very first step, yeah.
All right. And how much time does the carrier have to get you that administrative record?
Usually they have 30 days. There are penalties under Erisa if they don't get you the claim documents within 30 days. But that's a separate action, a whole separate topic that we should leave for another day to discuss.
All right, let's talk about step two. Now you've got this claim file, you've gone through it, you've discussed it with your nurse consultant who works with our law firm. Right. What's the next step that you're going to take? Well,
the next step that I would take is certainly when I get that denial letter, if there's any physician reports in the claim file, I send this stuff off right to their doctors, and I meet with the claimant's doctors. I speak with them, and I go through the denial letter, the medical reasons for the denial of benefits. I go through the reports that are generated by their in-house physicians or nurse consultants or whoever their medical staff are that reviewed the claim. And I speak to the doctors. We talk about what could be done, why are they coming to these conclusions, how do we refute this, and basically what happened.
Okay. What other types of things do you do in order to build additional medical evidence to support a disability claim?
Well, there's so many different things that you can do. I've done day in the life videos where the claimant is followed throughout the day, so that with a videographer, and it shows what they go through in a typical day. It shows what the struggles they have when they do just average activities of daily living. If they have to walk with canes or some sort of assistance, it'll show that. It shows the struggles that they go through. These companies often do surveillance videos. So if they go to the grocery store that day, it doesn't show somebody filming from far away, and it basically captures very little. You have somebody right there who's following you, watching the struggles that you're going through, just trying to get through the aisles or doing your shopping or doing those everyday things that people take for granted. And then basically start compiling all the medical records, start compiling all the medical support that we're going to need to battle that.
What about obtaining or suggesting additional medical testing for a claimant who's recently been denied? That's
also really important. And it's not always required in every case. And in every case, sometimes you just can't do it. It's not feasible. For a person who's going through the financial struggles of having just left work, being disabled and not making any income, and now being denied disability benefits by a company like Aetna, they're not going to have the money oftentimes to put up front to pay for this testing. Oftentimes, if you ask for instance, functional capacity testing, that could be in the thousands of dollars to have done. So, but if you could do it and you could manage investing into that, that's one of those things that you want to do. Functional capacity testing, if it's a physical condition that's limiting you. Neuropsychological testing is often done. to assess cognitive impairments and deficiencies and those things.
Right, and I know you mentioned something about costs, and I know in the past that we've been able to work closely with third-party companies that are able to arrange loans for these individuals to get this testing that's expensive but could really be the difference between winning a case or losing a case.
Yeah, that's always one of the options.
And how much time do you usually need to put together all of this information?
You know, we always try to work as quickly as we possibly can. We know that people are struggling through that time. They're not having any income coming in. So we try to gather all this documentation as quickly as we can. Sometimes it's not possible to get everything done in 2 or 3 months. Sometimes it takes a full 180 days or 6 months. But anywhere between 3 to 6 months, I'd say.
And in terms of Aetna as compared to the other disability insurance carriers that are out there, do you find them to be fair in their review of appeals, or do you find that they just go ahead and deny every single appeal they get?
Aetna's an interesting company. I've certainly seen them approve claims. Like many group disability carriers out there, they're not different in that they do go through a whole separate assessment once the 24-month own occupation period is up, and that's usually where you see people get hung up and get denied, is when that transition goes from own occupation to any gainful occupation. So yeah, they tend to give people trouble when that time comes around. Also, when it comes to providing people a full and fair opportunity to review, Aetna's not usually one of these companies that if you need more time, more than those 6 months, they often don't give you the extensions that you would need, an extension if you need more time. So that's why you got to get to work quickly and get things done as efficiently as you can.
And from your experience of litigating after the appeal, if an appeal isn't won or someone contacts you who's already been denied their appeal and you have to file a lawsuit against Aetna, what kind of, let's call them, what kind of enemy are they to go up against?
Yeah, Aetna's certainly a very large disability insurer. They're not just a disability insurer. There's companies out there, employers like Federal Express, like UPS, that actually contract with Aetna to do, is those companies self-fund their plans, so they contract with Aetna to handle and administer the disability claims. So
right.
Even though these private companies pay out disability benefits, Aetna is contracted by them to administer and determine claims of disability. So they're very large and they have lots of money, and when they go to court, they're ready to battle. And you got to match them fire with fire, because that's what they're going to bring, and they're going to be a tough company to battle.
Well, thank you for your time today. I want to say to people who are considering working with our law firm or just looking for additional information about Aetna disability claims, whether it's an appeal or a denial and you require to file a lawsuit, feel free to contact us at any time. We're happy to review your claim, let you know what your options may be, and see if we're able to help you with your claim.